All right, what is up? We are live. No Bush Peach tonight. We're going with a David Strimmy light today. So that's what we got going on over here to keep the throat uh, in working order. So we don't so we're able to talk for the whole time here. Poll question is up. Who do you think 2311 will put in the extra car this year? Riley Herbst, Corey Heim, Chandler Smith, or Eric Jones? This comes on the heels of Bob Pockris basically saying that 2311, the favorite to go in that car, if they get the charter, which seems to be assumed by everybody that they're going to get that charter, is going to be one, of course, Riley Herbst. And that has led to a lot of people not being happy about that. Some people stoked about that. So there is the list I made there. And of that list, let's look at Riley Herbst and what he brings to the table. So in defense of Riley Herbst, he has gotten better in Xfinity ever since he's gotten there, made the playoffs a few times. He has won a race over there. He's gotten better each year that he's competed over in that series. And for the people that don't believe in him, they're going to say, hey, he doesn't win enough races. He's not doing enough things over there to warrant being in a cup car. He's just a paid driver. And then there's another way of looking at it. And since that's the main point of view, what I just described, the other way of looking at it is, let's think about it like this. Justin Haley is another guy that came over and everybody was like, oh, he's just a paid driver. He hasn't done anything really in the Xfinity series. At the time, Colleague was a really good Xfinity team, a top tier Xfinity team when he was over there with them. He came to Cup. He didn't do a whole lot. A lot of people were down on Justin Haley. Then this season with Rick Ware Racing, Justin Haley has found his groove and he has looked really, really good for Rick Ware Racing. So it could be a situation. You never know with a driver when they're going to put it together. What if Riley Herbst has that kind of upside? What if that's the type of upside that they're seeing in him over there at 2311? And there's also a third option. The third option is this. He's just going to fill that seat for a couple of years while they develop Corey Heim some more, and then they're going to put Corey Heim in that seat. So that is that is one of the three scenarios over there with Riley Herbst. I think Riley Herbst is a pretty decent driver. I don't know. He'll probably slot in there somewhere like a Daniel Hemrick, maybe somewhere like a Eric Almirola, something like that. I could definitely see him being that type of driver in the Cup Series. Corey Heim would be the other one that a lot of people are talking about going to that 2311 ride. Bob Pockris has said numerous times he's in the 2311 development pipeline and he doesn't expect him to go away from that anytime soon. So Corey Heim would be another driver that you put in there. And we've seen what Corey Heim can do. Almost won the truck championship last season, has been just whatever level from late model up to whatever he runs. Corey Heim has been really good. It's a known commodity there. Corey Heim is definitely a bright young talent. How much sponsorship he brings and things like that, I don't know. But I don't know that 2311 needs a lot of sponsorship because they're pretty good at going out and grabbing sponsors themselves. Another one, two more that people don't really talk about. Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith in that Toyota pipeline went back to Toyota. You would imagine he went back to Toyota for a reason. Nobody really ever talks about Chandler Smith, though, but he's another guy that could go in there. He showed that he can win races in the truck series in Xfinity. He is pretty much a known commodity as well. So Chandler Smith should be a guy that I feel like people are talking about, but nobody really talks about him. But he's another guy that could slide over there. And also could be a guy, that maybe might slide over there in one of those front row seats, as front row said that they're going to get younger as well or continue to stay young. So Chandler Smith, a guy that should be on some radars, but doesn't really get talked about a whole lot. But Chandler Smith could be a guy that upsets the order over there and could be a guy you slide in there at 2311. And the other one that doesn't really get talked about because I just don't know why. Eric Jones. Eric Jones is in his final season of his contract for Legacy MC, and Eric Jones is a really good race car driver at right now a struggling race car team. There have been years where 2311, formerly Petty GMS, formerly RPM, there have been years where that team is good. There have been years where that team is bad. This is a year where that team is bad. Last year they were bad as well, but they have had years where they're good. And even when the team struggles, Eric Jones occasionally finds ways to get wins. And that just tells you the level of talent you have with Eric Jones. So Eric Jones over there at 2311, pairing him with Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace, that would be a good, relatively young squad over there to have. And I think that would be a pretty stout lineup. You would have plenty of sponsorship over there. Like I said, I think 2311 is pretty good at finding sponsorship. So I think Eric Jones is the one that people don't talk about the most. But Eric Jones would also make a whole lot of sense to go over there on that 2311 deal. So that is the poll question, and moving right along. And of course, the other stories of the day, I made a video about it, but if you want to go over those again today, Corey LaJoie didn't get fined. It's pretty obvious that he did it on purpose, but NASCAR is saying, hey, we didn't know if he did it on purpose or not. NASCAR has looked at SMT data before and determined that the driver did it on purpose. I feel like if they looked at the SMT data this time, they could probably also determine that this was on purpose, but NASCAR is consistently inconsistent. So in this particular deal, NASCAR is going to stick their head in the sand and say, hey, he did. We don't know. We don't know if he did it on purpose or not. So no fine. So that is the big story. And then we're going to have the tire choice for Richmond. Richmond's going to have a tire choice as well. You'll have the prime tire, you'll have the soft tire, or the whatever they're calling the option tire is what they're calling it. The option tire and the prime tire. You can't have both tires on. You can't mismatch the tires, I guess I should say. And you'll have 3 sets altogether of the option tire, 2 sets for sure if you use one option tire in practice. Or maybe if you scuff it in, you'll have 3 sets for the race. But yeah, so at most you'll have 3 sets of the option tire, and I think you'll have I think they said 6 sets off the top of my head of the prime tire. You'll have to check my math on that, check the story. Yeah, and that's that. Deegan is going to race Trans Am for a little while, at least for one race, and then she's also going to race in IROC. So she's doing stuff to keep herself race car ready while she tries to put together a new deal, whether it be IndyCar, whether it be Xfinity, or whatever. So yeah, and I think that's Daniel Suarez is going to race in Brazil after he gets married during the Olympic break is the other thing. So yeah, those are the main stories. I'll jump into the comments and see what you guys want to talk about of those stories. Jamie Schweitzer saying first like, yeah, buddy. Panini sponsoring Josh Berry at Indy, Caitlin Clark on the hood, raining threes. So yeah, that's an interesting deal there. Panini trading cards with Caitlin Clark on the hood of Josh Berry's number 4, raining threes. So raining threes on the 4 car. Kind of cool there. Daniel Block, still don't have my power back from the hurricane. I'm in Austin area. It's been a week now. That's terrible, man. Oh, that's awful. Hopefully they get you back in order there, Daniel, because that's a bummer for sure. We had maybe a year or two ago, we had a snowstorm and we were without power for 2 or 3 days over here as well. So a week is really pushing it. Hopefully they get you straight over there. Ty Dillon to the third 2311 car, says OJ and Toothpaste. So yeah, that is some other news that actually I didn't cover. Ty Dillon is going to drive. I put it in the Discord, but I forgot to put it in the episode. Ty Dillon is going to drive the 33 car for Richard Childress Racing at Indianapolis this weekend. So Ty Dillon finally making a Cup Series start for Pop over there. He finally got over that deal of not wanting to drive for him in the Cup Series, I guess I should say. Team FT, what's up? Good to see you in here, my friend. OJ saying, not looking forward to no NASCAR for 2 weeks, dumb Olympics. Yeah, I think a lot of NASCAR fans are bummed about it, but let's look on the bright side. We will have the Olympics, so I'll check out at least the skateboarding in the Olympics. If skateboarding's a summer, I don't know if skateboarding's a winter or a summer sport. I would imagine it's a summer sport. But yeah, track and field and skateboarding will be the ones that I'm looking for. Heim time would be better than Terrible Money. Terrible Herbst for 2311, says Napa Racer fan. Do you believe Pocono is overhated? I've always liked Pocono. I've never understood why people didn't like Pocono, so I couldn't honestly answer that one for you. You believe? Let's see. Is it hot enough for you? Says Delmer Kaufman. Yeah, it's definitely been hot down here in North Carolina for sure. Cooled to 82 here today. Was still toasty mowing the lawn this afternoon, says Mark Barnum. Speculation is that the third 23XL car is going to be split time between the 16 Collie car, kind of like the 16 Collie car this year, split between Heim and Martin Truex Jr. or maybe another driver or two. That's what I'd heard too. But so the rationale or the reasoning that Bob Pockris, stop me if you've heard this before, that Bob Pockris listed in his tweet was Monster Energy sponsors 2311 over there. So Riley Herbst is linked to be the main candidate over there. That's the same thing they were saying about Noah Gragson going over there to RCR. So I don't know exactly how solid that line of reasoning or thinking is. So yeah, like I said, I'm on the fence, but since it's a story, I thought I would throw that poll question out there. I don't know how serious it is because like you're saying here, That's what I'd heard too. That Corey Heim and Martin Trix. I mean, yeah, Corey Heim and Martin Trix Jr. were going to split time over there in that number 50 or 67 or whatever car that they run over there next season as their optional car. What about John Hunter Nemechek making the Cup playoffs this year? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I mean, he wrecks, but he also runs good. So if one of those days when he runs good and doesn't wrecks, if he gets the win, that's his only opportunity to get in there. On Earth too, though. On Earth too, he's solidly in the playoffs for sure. No love for Chandler Smith in the poll, says 1,400 horsepower next gen. Yeah, no love for Chandler Smith. Period. He's a good race car driver that just tends to be forgotten for some reason. Right now, same percentage as Riley Herbst, 10% for old Chandler Smith here in the poll. Let's see. I think LaJoie says Dirty Diff. Let's see. Option tires for the first race. I'm attending in person. That should be interesting, says Team FT. I like Richmond. I think you're going to enjoy the Richmond race. At least in the mid 2000s, they put on a good show. I haven't been up there since 07, I want to say, was the last one I went to. But I enjoyed my time there. So hopefully they put on a good race for you. And hopefully the option tire is actually a really good. It has a lot of fall off, and one tire is faster than the other. You guys really think Heim is better than Chandler? It says 1,400 horsepower next gen. I don't know which one's better, but I do think that both of them are very good. I think that's definitely a fair statement to say. I don't know why. I don't know why a lot of people don't talk about Chandler Smith. I do agree with that. I hope the rain doesn't affect the Brickyard 400. Forbidden, says Jamie Schweitzer. I hope it doesn't affect it either. If they were running the road course, though, we wouldn't have to worry about that. So we have an ARCA. We have ARCA over the Olympic break, says Team FT. If you had a NASCAR team, who would you hire? Says random 5,700. I think Eric Jones would probably be a pretty good hire at this point since he's a free agent. I have to think about that one for a minute, but just off the top of my head, I would go Eric Jones if I was starting a brand new Cup team. Deegan will race for Andretti and NXT. Saw a short of her driving a car. Her driving the car was from like way back in the day. That's an older video. She's come out and said that her driving a car, that's an older video. I don't think she is talking to him. I'm not saying it won't happen, but the picture of her driving the car is from several years ago. I don't think LaJoie did it on purpose. I think he moved up there. He was about to miss the corner. He should just have fell back instead of moving up and causing a wreck, says Dirty Death. So either way, it doesn't look good for Corey LaJoie. I think he did it on purpose because it was mad. But the counter argument still doesn't look good for Corey LaJoie. He's just incompetent at his job, and he caused the wreck. He caused basically the big one at Pocono. So either way you look at it for Corey LaJoie, it's not necessarily a positive story here today. And I like Corey LaJoie, but he messed up. He messed up. That's all you can say about it. Will the Indy Oval be embraced for a crown jewel or be hated on and ran out of town for a poor racing product? Says Napa Racing Fan. I mean, this is what people forget about. Like, hopefully it's a good product. We don't know what it's going to do with the new car. Hopefully it races like a super speedway with the new car. Because the reason they went to the road course was because the oval was so boring and got so stretched out. So hopefully NASCAR equals rain, says Mark Langren. Yeah, if you want rain, have a NASCAR race. For anyone who doubts Ty in the 33, remember he has an Xfinity win in an RCR car at Indy, says Team FT. Yeah, this is actually one of his better tracks, regardless of what the series is. So hopefully he shows up and does a good job. Elite, what's up, my man? What up, BB? Hope you're all having a good one. I'm pumped to be going to Indy. Yeah, so Elite is actually going to be on site. So I hope it's a good one. I hope the rain misses you, my dude, for sure. And I know it's going to be a fun event, man. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what you come up with. And I can't wait. I haven't seen your new video yet, but I was looking forward to that one as well. Without a doubt, the dumbest Olympic sport is breakdancing. Oh yes, breakdancing is officially an Olympic sport now, says Napa Racing Fan. About 40 years too late. Breakdancing was big in like the 80s, right? And I guess it's just now an Olympic sport. So that's like 40 years past its prime. Pocono is good for one race, or I guess the 80s, 30s. 1980 would be 40 some years. So yeah. So 40 years past its prime. Pocono is good for one race a year, not like 10 years ago, weeks apart, with 2 races in the summer, says OJ and Toothpaste. If you're going to, I did like the back-to-back races at Pocono. So I did like that concept. And that's a way you could get an extra race in the season. So I don't know. I don't know. So you could technically have, like a 37 race season, just going back-to-back over there at Pocono. So I don't know. 2311 number lineup should be 23, 45, 67. I'm with you, Matt Hunter. It makes so much more sense to do it that way because you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 23, 45, and 67, 100% makes sense. And that's the way it should be done. I don't like them running the 50. Don't like them running the 50. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up with what they're doing. Bring the Travis Pastrana 67, the Kobayashi 67. Bring it back. Let's see. Other organizations are running during the Olympics, says Mark Langren. Yeah, I don't get why NASCAR. Well, I do get it because their TV partner is NBC. I hope the Olympics don't go woke this year and will show some boxing, says Mark Barnum. I'm okay with my home track Pocono having one date as long as they have a date. Don't get kicked off the schedule because fans say it's boring and nothing but strategy. Says Napa Race fan. I think Pocono will stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. Let's see. Wicked Insanity. It took me a minute to figure out what that was. Wicked Insanity. What's up, my friend? Mark Barnum saying the video I saw was recent. I don't think so, Mark Barnum. I'm just gonna have to disagree with you there. The video of Haley Deegan driving the Indy cars, it's an old video. They're just recently started re-showing it though. And Haley Deegan's even said it was several years ago when she was driving that. So you can look it up and check it out. Let's see. I like Corey and Chandler, but I feel like Corey has a little better style of racing, says Gary Hobbs. Yeah, I mean, it's just flip a coin. I mean, they're both good, young, talented drivers. Corey Heim seems to have more hype behind him for whatever reason than Chandler Smith does right now. Hey, from Daytona Beach, I'm predicting a Chase Elliott, and you never know why, right? Like, just one guy gets more hype than the other. A Chase Elliott win at Indy. He's had the speed and consistency as of late. BB, what do you think? Says Glenn Park. I think he's been the most consistent over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 races. What he had that top 20 streak going, so however long that's been going, I'd say he's been the most consistent. The guys that had the regular season points lead, they 100%. They just keep wrecking or winning, so they're not being consistent. They're just going for wins. BB, if Corey is the 31st in points a year from now with Rodney, will that be a pat on the back and a good job or a boot? Yeah, if he doesn't make the playoffs, I think next year is a make or break year. If he doesn't make the playoffs next year, I think they go with a different driver over there at Spire Motorsport in the 7 car. I like strategy races. Not saying every race should be, but a Pocono and Indy every year should be fine. Improving racing at short flat tracks would help. I know this might not be a popular thing, but I feel you have to be able to race in Cup. You have to be a winner in Xfinity or Truck, or a winner in the big touring series, says Escobar. Let's see here. Wicked Insanity just became a member, so boom, there you go. Fist bump. Appreciate you, my friend. Much respect. Welcome aboard to the team here. Let's see. Yeah, but I think I'm with you, Escobar. I think you do need to get some wins in Xfinity for sure. Riley Herbst does have wins and does have at least one win in Xfinity that I can remember off the top of my head. So he has won. He has made the playoffs. I will be watching beach volleyball, says Delmer Kaufman. He's there for the scenery, I'm assuming. I've seen on Happy Harvick's hour, Kevin Harvick brought controlling interest in the Charlotte Checkers of the East Coast Hockey League, a hockey team, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, all these athletes are buying into other sports teams, and because they're seeing something in the market that buying a sports team it's always a good investment because they always increase in value or something like that. I don't know. I was watching something about it. That's why they're all doing it right now. Thanks, man. Walking into the facility is going to be breathtaking. The SMT data video. I haven't got it out yet, unfortunately. Oh yeah, okay. So that's the one I was thinking of, and that's the reason I haven't seen it. You don't have it out yet, so that's the reason I haven't seen it. So now I don't feel bad about watching it. I just it actually isn't out yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the SMT data video, and that's going to be a good one because I actually agree with you. They shouldn't be showing every team shouldn't have access to the SMT data. I think that's BS. SMT data should go to NASCAR, and that's about it. Buddy Arrington, number 67, says Delmer Kaufman. Napa Racing fan, feel bad for fans at Pocono who couldn't get to the track. Certainly not a good look, but at least Pocono owned up to it. Yeah, Pocono is going to refund them those tickets, at least for sure. Pocono is a class act. I hate that they had a traffic issue this year, but because normally Pocono is one of those tracks where everybody's like, man, this is the best fan experience I've been to at a racetrack. It's one of those. It's always one of those tracks that's ranked up there. So unfortunately, they had some bad luck this time. They're running the 50 because of the 50th anniversary of Mobile One, says Cody. Good. All right, good. I didn't know that, so that's good to know. I was wondering where the 50 came from, so now you know. 67 will be back. So there you go. 67 will be coming back. Didn't know we were live. LOL. Hello, everyone. What's up, B? Good to see you on here. I thought this would be a great time to showcase the truck series because it's in Fox. So it doesn't make sense not to take advantage of being the only series running, says Dirty Def. So there you go. Yeah, like it would be a good deal for whoever's running. I would really super hype it up because the people that don't want to watch the Olympics and want to watch motorsports, whether it be ARCA or whoever, I would hype that up as much as possible because not everybody is going to be wanting to watch the Olympics. Elite Precision saying what's up to B. What up, Elite, says B. Congrats, you are one of the few that said my name properly. I spelled it that way on purpose. Says Wicked Insanity. I appreciate it, my friend. It took me a minute to figure it out, but I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to crack this code before we move on with the chat. So I appreciate you, my friend. Let's see. HMS has won the first Brickyard 2004, 2014, maybe 2024. Oh, that would be pretty. That would be a pretty unique statistic. So yeah, every year that ends with an 04. So I guess technically that would be what 11 years apart. So every 11 years apart, Hendrick gets a win. That would be an interesting stat if they can pull it off. This will almost certainly be the last Olympic break with the new TV deal. Starting next year, NBC won't start until August when the Olympics would conclude every 4 years. That would be pretty cool. Wicked, welcome to the club, says B. Good poll, says Big Cheese. Yep, a rare moment where I actually came up with a good poll. Typically my polls are about basic as basic can be. Welcome Insanity, says Jamie Schweitzer. What up, everyone? Was at the race, great crowd, but it had a traffic dilemma, but I can't blame that because of the morning thunderstorm. It says Chrome Diesel. So yeah, they did have some weather, and that's what they're blaming it on. But they are at least refunding the tickets and trying to make it right. So like I said, Pocono, pretty class act. I hate it that the traffic was an issue for him for sure. I meant that Corey LaJoie he's never won in any top series of NASCAR, says Escobar. Oh yeah, so that's he had a really good ARCA deal. Kyle Larson won the ARCA championship. Corey LaJoie was second. Bubba Wallace was in there. Maybe Blaney. There was a few Cup drivers, but that's where he sort of made his name. A lot of people are like, where did he come from? And I had to look it up today too, because I knew he raced late models, but I never have in my lifetime since Frank Kimmel retired, have not really paid that much attention to ARCA. So he was in a really strong ARCA class and he did well there, but he has been with underfunded teams ever since. So he's still riding that thing of he was a good driver then, and I think he still is probably a good driver, but I think he's put so much pressure on himself that he's trying way too hard. And you see this occasionally with Ross Chastain as well, where Ross Chastain would try way too hard in a car that's not capable of winning. Now, I think Corey's cars are capable of finishing better than he's finishing in them, but I think he's pushing them so hard instead of just getting what the car can get and then make your last run toward the end of the race. He's just trying too hard. He's forcing too many unforced errors and making too many mistakes. And by default, he's taking too many people out. Whereas you look at last year, I don't think he had a single DNF last year. And then you look at this year, he's had multiple DNFs. That's a sign to me of a driver that's trying too hard, trying to push the equipment too hard than what it's actually capable of. Let's see. Even Harrison Burton has a few wins, says Escobar, and they get their stadiums paid by the taxpayer, says Mark Langren. Yeah, that's true too. Is Childers sure he wants to be the Sevens crew chief, says Napa Racing Fan. I think Rodney Childers will get him straight. If you want to visit the merch store, the link has just been posted there by Bumblebee. Much appreciated, my friend. Let's see. Escobar Corey LaJoie will never win a cup race, says Mark Barnum. Get your merchandise here, says B. Quattro, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here as always. Pocono infield seats suck. They tore down the tower, which had the best seats in the house, says Escobar. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they tore the tower down. Oh man, I'm off. Hello, team manager BB. What's up, Lanes? Good to see you on here, my friend. What's up, Quattro, says B. I got to go to the very first Brickyard and the second one, Gordon and Earnhardt, says Art NASCAR. Those, Man, I tell you what, dude, as a kid, that's one race I always wanted to really go to, the Brickyard for sure. Wanted to go to the Indy 500 this year, but it didn't work out with scheduling and everything like that. And because of the rain, I'll be honest with you, kind of glad I didn't go. But the next time Kyle Larson wins, I still plan on attending, but I'll probably miss it again because that's just the way life goes. Let's see. I think Corey LaJoie is the most disliked underdog since Matty D, says Elite. That's probably a fair statement. 100%. Right now, I was fixing to read that Big Cheese and you deleted it on me. Let's see. Corey LaJoie, I would say so. Yeah. What was the Matty D controversy? He got political worse. I can't even remember off the top of my head. So yeah, he got political. Corey LaJoie is unpopular for just wrecking everybody's favorite driver. I'm not saying Kyle Busch is everybody's favorite driver, but it's this season. It's been just a series of Corey LaJoie getting in wrecks, and everybody's favorite driver at some point seems to be involved in it at some point. So he's instead of just having one event where he makes people dislike him, he's had just a series of transgressions that has led up to this Kyle Busch point. So I think people are just starting to have enough with it. And Corey can clean it up. So hopefully he stops pushing himself to make these unforced mistakes and just gets in there, rides, and does what the car is supposed to do. Sorry, that is every 10 years, 4, 14, and 24. Mark Langren, you got to count the zeros. So there's a 0 year in there. That would be 11. Oh, man, here we go. Let's see. Thoughts on teams having their choice of tire sets used in every race, practice, and qualifying session, says Jamie Schweitzer. Let's see. I mean, they got to have. If you're going to have different tires, you got to give them the choice to make it. So I do think that that's like a good deal from NASCAR. So as long as NASCAR is not dictating when you got to put on the tires, I think that's what messes it up. BB, what restaurant that is closing that you will miss the most? Endless Shrimp. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. They claim all these restaurants are closing, but I haven't seen any of them close just yet. So we'll see. We'll see if it's not just some hype or something like that. Is Larson running the 500 going to help this weekend? Remember, this whole crew went out there, so you'll know they had to take some notes. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be hard because we don't have data on it. I mean, I guess you can go. Driver Averages is doing intermediate tracks, and they're as far as intermediate tracks go, Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, and Brad Keselowski are your guys that have the best average finish there. Wins at intermediates is pretty much split up between Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Alex Bowman as well. So that's the only real numbers you can pull. Or whatever. Pocono is good to the fans. I love that place. It's hard to follow a race there. It's so big, but the fan experience is awesome. Sorry, I messed up that last message. Says Big Cheese. Ross Chastain mentioned Ra, says Quattro. Let's see. I'll start watching Cup again when Heim gets in permanently, says Big Cheese. So there you go. There you go. Big Cheese waiting on Corey Heim to get in there. It's going to happen sooner rather than later. Let's go back up to the every 10 years instead of every 11 years. So let's see, 2004 to 2014, 2004, 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 10 years. 14 would be 11. So there you go. It's 11 and not 10. Let's see here. Now I've lost my spot. Putting a restrictor plate on the Brickyard Xfinity race in Michigan as well is a dirty move by NASCAR, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah. That's not been a popular thing, so I don't know. I feel like they're doing it at Michigan because they don't want the Xfinity series to be faster than the Cup cars, but it is what it is. Until they get it figured out, that's what they're going to do. Pocono is good to the fans. Love that place. It's hard to follow a race there. It's so big, but the fan experience is awesome. Ross Chastain mentioned Ross is Quattro. Quattro, a huge Ross Chastain fan. I'll start watching Cup again. I just read that one. Let's see here. And I lost my spot again. Why does it keep jumping around? The chat is jumping around on me. Sorry about that today, guys. I like how the NASCAR app has Ryan Truex in the Xfinity Series playoffs. Says Cody Ledger. Xfinity Super Speedway rules for Michigan and Indy is just dumb. They did it before in 2018. Yeah, they've tried it. They've tried it before, and every time it doesn't work. But then they always want to go back to the well and try it one more time. Did anybody notice to see if NBC missed the Noah Gragson spin? I think they were doing a demonstration, Toyota demo car. Corey had a terrible day in a Hendrick car last year, says Delmer Kaufman. To be fair to Corey LaJoie on that one, the year before that, Chase Elliott had a terrible year in that same car at the same racetrack. That's something that everybody overlooks on that. Not standing up for Corey LaJoie because him wrecking Kyle Busch was just inexcusable. To be fair, as well. Heim staying in trucks another year isn't as terrible as people think. He's somewhere he's comfortable for him. That and he's winning races. They didn't miss it. They showed it. Maybe not live though. Says Napa Racing fan. Remember when NASCAR on ESPN did that gimmick draft crap with the green air in 2007 and 2008? Yeah, that was. They were trying to sort of. At the time, Fox had a tracker for the puck, and everybody was trying to mimic that tracker for the puck because Americans are too stupid and blind to actually be able to follow the puck, was what Fox was telling you. So they put this flame looking comet tracker on the hockey puck, and everybody started emulating that for various other sports, so you could see stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to see or something like that. So that's, in my opinion, where that came from. Your polls are always good, just like seeing Corey in the poll, says Big Cheese. Corey just likes to wreck Hall of Famers, says Cody. Kyle was nice in his interview because he was happy. LaJoie put him out of his misery, says like dislike. I like Corey because he was the only driver to sign in 2020 during COVID, says Jake. Heard that on Door Bumper Clear, says in between the lanes. Cup qualifying format has become so confusing. Group B qualifies inside and A outside for round one. Round two, Group A qualifies outside and B inside. Something weird that makes no sense, says Napa Racing fan. If Riley Herbst gets a cup ride next season, it's all about money. Far better prospects out there that would be picked up before him, says Dirty Death. Yeah, I mean, money is a big part of it for sure, and that's definitely why he's a leading candidate for any ride for sure. There's 100%. That's 100% accurate there. John Hunter Nemechek out. Heim to the 42. Tops on my silly season wish list, says Matt Hunter. It would probably save him some money for sure, because I doubt Herbst would getting as many wrecks as the current 42 driver would. It's 10. You included the previous win. I'm not going to argue. BB is 10, says Escobar. Hey, Bumblebee and OJ, says Jamie Schweitzer. What's up, says Bumblebee. I think KFB's going to send Corey flying at Indy. How will SVG do this weekend? I think the fact that it will also be the first time a lot of Xfinity drivers have been there, says Dirty Death. The only math I want to do is count the third championship trophy for Joey wins in November. Kendall saying, who is the second best Chevy team in 2024? Trackhouse, RCR, Spire Colleague. That's a toss-up. Trackhouse has been a little bit off. RCR has had a terrible season, unfortunately. And then Spire and Colleague, that's a good question. It's a good question. I would say Trackhouse has been the second best Chevy team by far, though. Who is after them is sort of a toss-up. Late to the party, I had to get a baby to lay down. LaJoie acquitted of all charges, says Sekal. He was not found guilty, but he was not found innocent either. We'll put it that way. What did you think of the standings? I DM'd you last night, says Chrome Diesel. Pretty interesting. It's always interesting to see which drivers are leading, depending on what format you gauge it by. Say Kyle, hello, says Bumblebee. Will there be an extended practice this weekend since it's the first time back at the Oval for a while, says Dirty Death. It's only a 45-minute practice, if I'm remembering correctly. So not like a super long practice, just about just a regular 45-minute. At least it's not the 20-minute one, though. Joey's next championship is on Earth, too, says Mark Langren. Say Kyle saying, what's up, EB? MLB All-Star game on. Last night was the home run derby, says in between the lanes. Corey LaJoie, we need the American League to win. Let's see. Corey LaJoie watched Kyle Busch interview on his podcast, and he was like, "Yep, I'm in trouble." Says Dirty Death. Yeah, I think Corey LaJoie's reaction on his podcast was definitely due to all the people Let's see. Not liking him and his. I think really his crew chief is the one that got people the most riled up. I want to say with his commentary during the event actually happening. So I think it's a reaction because before that he was like, "Yeah, Kyle Busch blocked me twice." He changed his tune really quick on the podcast though, because of all the backlash. Corey Heim raced with my son in quarter midgets. We never raced in his class. He was younger, but every week he was getting a trophy. Very good family. His dad used to race legends at Lanier Speedway. Yeah, and we raced against him in late model. He raced for Lee Pulliam in late model, and I think Lee Pulliam did his super late model cars too, or at least maybe his limited cars. Anyway, we raced against him too. He's a really good driver, super talented guy. See, Kyle, we were talking about how Denny sucks, says Jamie Schweitzer. Uh, LaJoie Nall processed, says Say Kyle. So he's going with some legal stuff. I don't know anything about the legal stuff there. Unfortunately, Denny only sucks in our hearts, but not on the actual racetrack, says Say Kyle. So yeah, Denny Hamlin. I think a lot of people. He's another strange one. Like he has a podcast that a lot of people like, and they love the podcast, but they're like, man, I wish he would retire because as a driver, they actually don't like him a lot. And man, we're fixing to have a nasty thunderstorm outside. I just heard that. So yeah, he's one of those drivers like that. BB, what's better, the new Ford Lightning or the 2002 Ford Lightning? I would say the 2002 Ford Lightning because it'll still be running in 10 years. The new Lightning, they have had all kinds of problems with that. I was going to make a video about the guy that is running Ford, the CEO of Ford right now. He talked about how bad it was, and I was going to make a video that said, "Man samples products and says it's terrible. We must change them because it's rare that the CEO gets in a car and he's like, 'This is awful. We need to fix this.'" But he definitely did with the Ford Lightning. So hopefully they get that figured out. I don't know. I'm not against electric cars, but they're not where they need to be yet. I think if they keep messing with them, they'll make them a lot better. But right now, they're just not. They're not what everybody needs, and there's all kinds of other problems with them. We're not getting into the electric talk because I always know how that goes. Byron actually has turned me around. Byron actually has turned me around to Hamlin. He's always asking where the 11 is or what he's doing to learn, and always races the 24 clean. Other than their Texas mishaps, says Say Kyle. I mean, Denny races you clean until he doesn't, so it's one of those things. Denny got Michael money, gives him a big mouth, says Delmer. Yeah, I mean, having that platform certainly helps. Having that backing definitely helps you. Every championship Penske has had since has an asterisk next to it because of all they did is bring a fast car for the championship gimmick race, says Chrome Diesel. I don't know that I'm necessarily put an asterisk beside it, but just every championship from the playoffs. Who was the first one? Kevin Harvick. Did he win the first playoff championship? So every championship from there on out is just going to be looked at differently. So it's just going to be different eras. And now comparing drivers against other eras is just going to be a super difficult thing to do. So I don't know. It's going to be a hard thing. It's going to be a hard thing to compare drivers. You're just going to have to go off of wins. Who wins the Brickyard 400? Says Napa Racing Fan. No clue. I'll have to look at the data and get back with you on that one to try and figure it out. What did you think about Bubba's comments this weekend? I think there's a lot of truth to what he said. His attitude hasn't helped him. I mean, that's 100%. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can say about Bubba Wallace, but it doesn't matter what you say about him because people have already got their minds made up. So no matter what Bubba Wallace says at this point, or no matter what anybody says about Bubba Wallace at this point, people have already made up their minds. They either like him or they don't like him. So it is what it is. I don't think his comments are going to help him or hurt him from here on out. The biggest reason to hate Denny is the first time he's ever played the lotto. Mega Millions billion draw. He won 50K. Makes you want to puke, says Say Kyle. Yeah, I mean that's that's part of it. Luckiest man alive, I guess, is that angle. Could the Chevy Equinox be the next Cup car for Chevy, or is that a crossover or SUV? Uh, at some point, they're going to entertain putting SUVs on the track because that's all they sell. There are not that many cars left. At some point, it's going to happen, and people are going to be upset about it, or it'll be a crossover or something like that. But at some point, there will be a non-traditional car that is used for the Cup Series body for sure. And Chevrolet might break that ground first, so we'll see. Brickyard goes to Chase, says Mark Langren. I'm taking Kyle Larson to win the 400, says B. Trucks and ARCA. at IRP Friday evening and Friday night, says Napa Racing Fan. Unfortunately, I would put money on Denny. He has never won. Don't sleep on Penske. They just did really good at Pocono. Pocono back in the day under the old car always translated pretty well to Indianapolis and tracks that this car hasn't seen before typically tend to go toward Joey Logano. So I wouldn't sleep on Joey Logano there. Um, Unfortunately, I would put money on. I just read that one. Low risk Bumblebee, says Mark Langren. 24 returns to victory lane this weekend. Take it to the bank. BJ McLeod tanking on Earth 2, says Bumblebee. Chevy to run mid-engine vet, says Mark Langren. Stranger Things. I don't know if it'll be the mid-engine vet, but when Chevrolet comes out with their four-door coupe, their terminology, not mine, that could be the body that is used on a Chevrolet car that will basically get transferred over to the Cup Series. I don't think Corvette will run in Cup, but I think Chevrolet will take that four-door body and make a Chevrolet product out of it, and that might be the car that they run whenever that happens. Imagine trucks at the Indy Oval, probably a disaster, says Napa Racing Fan. Yes, Bumblebee, says OJ and Toothpaste. The four-door car was the first non-traditional car on track, says Delmer Kaufman. Unless you're not counting the Gullwing that I think Timmy Flock drove a Gullwing Mercedes in the NASCAR sports car division. So I would say that's probably a non-traditional car as well. There's been a few. It depends on how far back you want to go. There's been a few non-traditional cars there back in the day. And you could also say non-traditional. The Chevrolet Lumina was probably the first non-traditional because that was a front-wheel drive. That was the first front-wheel drive car that ran. So there's all kinds of different ways you can look at it. But yeah, all kinds of. So I guess the Taurus would have been the first four-door car. So yeah, all kinds of different cars you could throw that label on for sure. Ross having to do the double between IRP and Indy practice back to back. Xfinity and Cup races Friday afternoon on the NBC Sports app, says Napa Racing Fan. BB, what year is your favorite Corvette year? Says OJ and Toothpaste. That's a good question. I don't know. Probably like a whatever is it the 63 or the 64 that had the split window, except I don't care about the split window, just that body style, one of the ones of that body style. I did like that body style. That's one of my favorites. I like the one that was super slow, but it was like you had the lake pipes on it. Um, the one that the astronauts drove, I like that body style. That's the one I'm thinking of. And then the original Z06, the one that brought Corvette back to their winning ways, the one that Dale Senior. I'll just say a 99 on that one because I can remember that. The 99 one, 99 to 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. I like that Corvette Z06. That was a good one. So I don't know. Let's see. BJ got 40 million in his pocket, says Delmer Kaufman. I hate the new Vets, absolutely sickening. They don't offer an 8-shift manual, says Say Kyle. What's up, BB and crew? What's up, T Van? Good to see you on here. BB, who will get the 100th win for the Wood Brothers? Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton might get it at a super speedway, so I'm not going to count him out. Still a head scratcher why Penske didn't want Rodney Childers though. There was a Porsche in that series. Porsche in that series, says Mark Langren. Indeed, that's what I'm saying. There's been a lot of non-traditional cars. It just depends on how far back you want to go. They ran the convertible class for a while, for one full season at least. 19. Hold on, what year was it? Oh, I can't see it. Too far back. 1947, I want to say, maybe 48, but I could be wrong about that. Let's see. What does Chevy do for their next car? Just make a Camaro for NASCAR, Corvette, change the Cadillac. Hopefully not. They'll just run whatever car they're going to run, and it's probably going to be I don't know. People get so pissed off, but it's just probably going to be an electric. It's going to be the electric Camaro, and it'll be based off of the electric four-door Corvette that they're making. Like that's probably what is going to be the next body style for Chevrolet in NASCAR. It won't be an electric car. People get caught up on that. It'll just be the body put onto whatever NASCAR's got going on as an engine package at that time. Uh, Team C6 body style, but then again, I'm super biased. Says Say Kyle. 63 is the 1 year only with the split window. Says in between the lanes. I know it was 63 or 64. So there you go. 62 the first year for the 327 and the last year for the straight axle. And the last year for the Roadster Corvette, says Baron Von Weebs. My wild card prediction: Kyle Busch wins the pole and finishes last for the Brickyard, says Jamie Schweitzer. 1999 Corvette or 2006 Z06, says OJ and Toothpaste. Kyle Busch is a good wild card pick there for the Brickyard. I will say that. Rick Mass said they're having a reunion of the inaugural Brickyard 400 this weekend, getting as many drivers who participated in the race back at the track. 60s split windows are the best Corvettes, says T Van. So I ordered a dark horse in March 2023. Still waiting on it. Guess NASCAR got all of them, says Delmer. Hopefully it gets to you soon. 63 split window with a 427 and a stick shift, says Mark Langren. Harrison could get like Haley got with his with Harrison could get like Haley got his, or Busher with the fog bank. Oh yeah, so yeah, it could be a weather deal. Either way, I'm not counting Harrison Burton out of getting a win, but he ain't winning on talent or raw speed, says Say Kyle. So yeah, he came up way too early, and I'm not going to disagree with that. The only exception would be a super speedway. I'll say he has run good on super speedways as long as he doesn't get caught up in somebody else's mess. Roger Penske is why Rodney didn't go to the 21. I mean, 100%. I'm just saying I don't understand why they didn't want him. He is very controlling, it seems like. My way or the highway. Shelby Cobra, way better car than the Corvette, says Mark Barnum. Let's see. BB, would you like to? Shelby Cobra was made in direct response to the Corvette, so that they've always been competitors. BB, would you like to see a new primary Larson scheme next year, or keep the original? I think they should just keep it as long as possible and just have every once in a while just change it up to sort of like Earnhardt did. It was always the Goodwrench car, but they have 2 or 3 races every year where they changed it up to something else. As long as Chevy upgrades to a new Cup car from their current car, I'm fine with it, says Napa Racer fan. What car still need a driver for next year? There's 2 charters out there, and we don't know where they're going to go. Front row still has 1 seat open. And then wherever those other, like everybody's assuming it's going to be Trackhouse in 2311. So Trackhouse in 2311 would be the other ones. The 43 car, because Eric Jones is in a contract year and we don't know what he's going to do. So those, off the top of my head, those are the seats that are still open. My issue with Mustangs is if you bought a nice one, your average person has no idea what they're looking at. 30K Mustang or a 300K Mustang. Says Say Kyle. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty fair statement, and it just depends on what Mustang you buy, like as well. So I don't know. Let's see. Got to drive one when working at a gas station and did the service and test drive, says Mark Langren. BB, will Truex win this year and where, says OJ and Toothpaste. Truex will get a win this season. And you never know. Truex just his wins are never like super predictable, but he'll get one for sure. Bullins isn't a terrible crew chief, but Childers definitely would have been an upgrade, says Napa Racer fan. I agree, but Penske has this Penske way, and he wants people to come up through the Penske system, and there's all kinds of stuff to it. Driven and competed against both, it's easier to beat the Cobra, says Mark Langren. Harrison's issue on super speedways is he sees the 24 and then feels the need to win and feels the need to spin or flip in front of it. Can't win backwards or upside down, says Say Kyle. So unfortunately, the 21 has had a magnet to the 24 this year, according to Say Kyle. BB is Allmendinger having a good season so far. I haven't kept up with the Xfinity Series, to be honest with you. He's been a little bit of a squirrel in Cup. Some of that his fault, some of it not his fault. So I don't know. He might be another driver that's pressing just a little bit too hard. So you think charters are going to survive, says Mark Langren? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I want SVG Red Bull 97 or 16 scheme. That would be so fire. Says OJ and toothpaste. Um, yeah, hopefully Red Bull will come back and do some type of sponsorship in NASCAR. They're funny about how they sponsor stuff. They want like total control of it. So I don't know if that ever happens. Delmar Kaufman, Town and Country Ford in Charlotte, owner of Charlotte Motor Speedway, owns the company that owns the dealership, Sonic Automotive. Will they eventually get a charter agreement done? Says Napa Racing Fan. I don't know. I don't know. Not looking good right now, according to Denny Hamlin. Maybe I'll make a video on that because he came on the Kenny Wallace show and talked about it a little bit and had some interesting things to say. Truex will probably get one on a mile and a half home track, says Say Kyle. Could be. Could be. It'll definitely be a home track no matter what it is. And his home tracks are everything east and west of the Mississippi. RCR definitely should have tried to get Childers for competition director. I think that would have been a good move too. They might have tried. We don't know. BB, your favorite NASCAR race you have ever watched? I don't know. Probably North Wilkesboro or Darlington when I was a little kid. Whichever one was my first one. Wilkesboro was a good one, and I know at Darlington I saw Earnhardt won, even though I can't really remember him winning because I was so young. But I remember I had a good time there. I'd be willing to bet that 2311 has a handshake deal on the third charter contingent on the new media deal, but would be surprised if 2311 doesn't buy if things don't go the way Denny wants. Yeah, I think a lot of these charter things are being held up by the ownership agreement not being signed as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. BB, will Tyler Reddick win the championship this year? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him, to be totally honest with you. He's been just as good as Chase Elliott here recently, and I feel like those have been the two hottest drivers recently. I ordered one with the track package, and that seems to be the holdup, says Delmer Kaufman. Could be. They're having a lot of they manufacturing has just been a lot slower since everybody got a basically a 1 year break from working, except for the essentials. Regular season championship points race is extremely close. It is. It's a 3-point race right now, if I remember correctly. Best racetrack for NASCAR is Road America, says Mark Langren. I think a lot of people wish Road America would come back for sure. Feel like Reddick and Larson have the same problem: win or bring it home in a flatbed. Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that have that problem since this new playoff thing started. Did you get your hair trimmed? Says Dawson. I did. Unfortunately, NBC mostly shows playoff standings. They'll show regular season standings briefly, 4 or 5 seconds. Says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, yep. They switch it right to the playoffs, and that's the way they're going to do it now. That looks like we've reached the end of the chat here. Corey Heim wins the poll at 43%, 30% for Eric Jones, Chandler Smith at 13%, Riley Herbst at 13%. BB, most improved rookie in your opinion? That's a good question. I still think Hocevar has been the most improved rookie. Josh Berry will probably win Rookie of the Year though because he's more consistent. Agree. Road America is my favorite road course. 100K fans went to the Cup race just to get dumped for sure. NBC talked about the points all race, but never showed the cutoff. So annoying. Baloney Burger Jr. BB, when did you lose your V card? Are you single? That's a good question, Baloney Burger Jr. And one day I might answer it. Delmar Kaufman with the checker flag. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'll check you guys later. Peace.